Welcome to Stall Talk. This is the Stall High podcast. We are on episode number 28. I'm Kendra Dixon, and I'm very blessed to have an amazing dream team at Stall High. And we're going to talk about an amazing weekend that we just experienced. Our rock star neuroscience guru, Kevin calls her Mama Yoda. Is that right? Leanna Ray.
So good to be here, Kevin. I loved that name. And your name was brought up many times this weekend. I was wishing that you could have been there. It was great to hear some of your story, that this is your horse that you bought and you're coming alongside Stall High as you and your horse, you develop your horsemanship. That blew my mind. I was so incredibly touched and moved by that. So hats off to you.
Yeah, he's a cool guy. Kevin,
Yep.
We love having you on board at Stall High. We've got star of the TV show Gift of the Horse, Michael Richardson. Michael, you really jumped in there because we didn't have an exact plan. I knew that you guys were coming. James was just full throttle, holding nothing back. So guys, for those of you who didn't see all of the memos that we posted ahead of time, we just hosted the first of its kind clinic for mares only. And here in Aubrey, Texas, we had a total of 6 riders, only 6 riders and their mares. The lead clinician was James Davison. He is our resident equine behavior specialist. And once he started, even he was talking and dropping gold before we could get the cameras turned on. It was like that the entire weekend. He just blasted us with all of his expertise from the saddle. And we were all just like, whoa, I'm so glad we're recording this so we can go back and watch the replay. So very inspiring, incredible weekend, tons of breakthrough for the riders. We've got multiple riders here on this live Zoom with us. And Michael and Leanna came as well, just to offer their support, be here in the event that we needed them. And by the second day, I realized, man, James is going in depth with these riders. And so we actually pulled 3 of the riders into the refining pen. And Michael, when I stepped away to run that Zoom and really getting to see you in action, that got my attention even more, because I don't know what I don't know. What I do know has served me well, and I've had to learn a lot of things the hard way. And now I have the opportunity to shorten my own learning curve by learning from you. So let's kind of recap what happened in the refining pen. I'm going to get you to hit your mic for me, please, sir, so I can hear you. I can see your mouth moving, but I can't hear you.
There we go. I'm sorry about that. Leanna, would you like to start and take the lead on that? We may have lost her.
Oh, now we need her mic.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm on. Whew.
Please.
I think we'll start off with, I think, again, and these things at Stall High are all about leveling up. And the beautiful gift that you and Shelly and Lori have is that as you're witnessing and observing all the experiences that were unfolding, what came to be on that second day was really, we were listening to, I believe, that inclination into intuition, that to then take people into the refining pen, which I love the name of that, by the way, would allow the learning that was happening with James, tremendous amount of learning, to then be able to become even more embodied. And how that embodied, like, you can know it, you could look at the logistics of it and go, I get this pattern. And the brain has to sit and simmer. And the brain has to sit and simmer and figure its way out and have that time to compare and contrast. And what I mean by that, because this is learning, is that the body's going to go, I'm used to moving this way, and now I have this contrasting experience. Let me have the time and space to feel into it. And so I think that, as a lead in now, Michael, to what you're going to say, is that we were able to allow that to happen. And I'd love to hear from some of the writers too, right? But yes, allow that embodiment to really happen within their own nervous system and body.
Yes, experiential learning went to a whole new, I have a whole new appreciation for what that means. Michael?
Yeah. Well, I would echo the same sentiment that Leanna just said. It was a beautiful thing to see the riders have an opportunity to really learn from the horse, and the opportunity and the refining pen in particular, when they came in, it's slow work, and it's addressing the position, the posture, those little nuances of the effects that they have on the horse. And the positive thing that we saw with all of them through the whole weekend, and James, my hat's off to him. He did a fantastic job, and all we wanted to do is compliment what he was doing and what you and Lori have said, and Shelley, you as well, with the opportunity to share. And it was a beautiful thing to see how we could come in and just share some little nuances of a different way to develop a movement pattern. And the effects that had on these animals was just, I mean, mind blowing, really, to see these animals be able to really feel something that they've been looking for. And I think that it's always important to give ourselves time to go through the good and the bad, because going through some things that might have been difficult and maybe not having the results that we thought we would is just part of the process. It's not to saying, oh, we can't do this. Oh, this horse isn't going to be able to make it. Oh, I'm not going to be able to be successful. Because the truth of the matter is, we are going to be able to be successful if we open up our minds to what these beautiful animals have to say. And that, to me, was evident through the whole weekend. And so I came away with just in awe of the opportunity to be able to share and to be aside Leanna and listen to her wonderful wisdom and watch these riders process this information was just an absolute delight. And I can't wait for the next one. So it was really incredible.
Us too. It was profound. You call it slow work. I call it profound work. It was so cool seeing every rider when it clicked and when they could feel it, and the horse undeniably changed instantly. And their little faces would look up at us, and just, you could see the sparkle in their eyes, and you could see this big smile. And I just had such a proud moment and such a moment to celebrate with them. And it was beautiful. And you said at one point, you're like, I'm going to be the first one to tear up. And I said, I've already beat you to that point, because it was, I didn't know. We talked about how these, Leanna, you say these conversations aren't being had in the horse world. I can vouch they're sure not being had in the barrel horse world. We aren't taught these things. We simply didn't know. But now that we can see what a direct and immediate impact it has on our horses, and how much happier they are, and how much more of a natural range of motion and a natural stride they have, we can't not like be responsible or feel responsible for that. It has forever changed our lives. This one weekend, one clinic for mares only. And Emily, I'm going to get you to speak up if you can, if you're at a place where you could talk, because she made a good point. It gave her answers to a 30-year question, why her horses drifted to the right. So she's tried to answer that for 30 years, and it happened over the weekend. Emily, are you at a spot where you can talk?
Yes, I am. Yes, hi. Just at a lunch break. Yeah, for over 30 years, my horse, and I had multiple ones, kept drifting to the right. And I knew it was me, but nobody could give me that answer of what I was doing. And it just seemed like I just couldn't figure it out. And it was as simple as shifting just a touch over to the left. I kept putting more weight and was sitting a little bit more to my right. And so she was coming up underneath me to try to support me. As soon as I did that, we started to ride, everything leveled out, and she was dropping her head. It was just an absolutely huge light bulb moment. It was amazing. And I rode her yesterday and continued, and then I used what I learned to ride my other horse yesterday, my Andalusian Titan. It was night and day. I'm just so excited to see where I go with him now.
So good. You look different even today. You look like you have a brighter eye. You've got like a stronger voice. Like us being able to watch you go from like I'm here, I'm a student to I am my horse's coach. And we're
Yes.
gonna get this done. There was a huge change in your posture and the look on your face and the sound of your voice. So that was just really fun to share with you. And I'm super proud of you.
Thank you.
Great job, Emily. Keep up the good work. You're doing just fantastic.
Thank you. I couldn't do it without you guys. Thank you, Michael.
Yeah, ring the bell, ring the cowbell.
Yeah, where's my
Yes,
cowbell?
we had
Oh,
so many of
hold
those
on.
moments.
Wait for it, wait for it. We have the Stall High victory bell. Okay, we haven't done this on Stall Talk yet, but here it goes.
Yay.
So good. 30
Thank you.
years. 30 years. Well, I've been in the saddle a lot longer than that, and I didn't know how crooked my seat was. I could tell, like, for many years, I would notice that when I loped, one leg would come behind me more than the other, and I would kind of sit at a diagonal at the lope. And I did that because it was uncomfortable. There's a whole story to, what I've learned through designing the Bullseye saddle, what I learned after riding in my dad's old work saddle, how that changed. Yes, that made a big difference. But what I missed, it's not what was wrong, it's about what was missing, what I didn't know. And I learned yesterday, Emily, after everyone had left, when Michael and Leanna were here, Shelly and I had an opportunity to be the students. And what he saw in my hips, I have never seen in myself. I didn't know. And we're going to get to that later in Stall Talk. Who else is on this Zoom with us? Stephanie, are you here? Because you were one of the 6. Yes, Little Peaches is so much happier. I'm reading your comment right now. Stephanie, are you
okay.
in a place where you
I'm
can
here.
talk?
Yes, ma'am. I'm on lunch break.
Hey,
Hello.
big difference in you too.
Yes.
You're able to connect dots, even if they're not for yourself. You can see it in other people and other horses, and you connect the dots really fast, and you can verbalize it, and you have a way with words like Michael and Leanna. So I'm like, oh, she's sharp. So what was it like? What were your big takeaways from the weekend for people who weren't able to be a part of it?
Oh my gosh. I mean, it was totally awesome. That's like you said, I can verbalize it and I can see it, but trying to feel it is difficult because due to, as y'all know, a lot of injuries, a lot of head injuries, a lot of brain bleeds and stuff, and my stroke, I don't have as much movement on my left side or my right, or maybe I don't communicate with my left as well as I do my right side. And so learning how to move my left side without the right side moving opened me up so much more, but also learning how to relax in my saddle and not look like I was in the show ring 24/7. Because that's where I've always been is, oh, look prim and proper, show that horse, look right, show the horse, but never really ride the horse. And it's different from show the horse to ride the horse. And now being able to actually sit down and ride the horse and not care what anybody else looks at me for or looks at the way I'm riding, but how I'm just, for myself, how I'm actually riding and sitting the horse and learning to use my left side different from my right side was eye-opening. But Leanna helped me so much with my nerves and learning to relax my shoulders, and why I couldn't was opening up my nerves and relaxing those because they get so tense and so strong, it pulls everything up. And I actually have to have somebody put pressure points on me to relax those or they don't relax.
Mhm.
So it was a big, but just everything this weekend that you taught and showed us and the different instructors helped me so much. And my mare was a completely different horse last night. Just, I didn't have to kick her into moving up. She was more than happy to go forward. Even though she's a little body sore, she was so happy just to work.
So good. That's a great
Thank
report. Michael, do you want to compound on that and tell us what you saw in these 2 riders?
It was an absolute pleasure and delight to be able to be part of this, because what we were able to see live in the moment was just so impactful for all of us. And to be able to see both you and Stephanie and Emily be able to experience this was, I mean, worth everything that I personally have gone through in this journey. And I know that it's the same for y'all to be able to just put these little pieces together. Because again, it's little nuances that build on each other to be these big movements. But you got to have the opportunity to experience the nuances of change. And it goes through the nervous system and allowing our body and our mind to be able to be open to it. And it doesn't have to happen right away because it's a process. But again, what we saw, utilizing what the horses are telling us, we saw it live right in front of us make these monumental changes in these animals, and you're continuing to experience it. And what a beautiful thing. I don't really have even words to describe the joy that I have in my heart for these ladies and everybody that was there. To be able to be part of that was again worth everything that have gone through and continue to go through to, as you know, our individual journeys that we're all on. And these horses are the ultimate teacher.
Well, we say it a lot at Stall High. Once you see, you'll never unsee it. We now know it can be different. And Annie, I loved what you said, and you've said it several times, is that, and I think someone else complimented what you said. Most of us have been to other clinics, or we listen, or we watch, or we've tried to seek help from other people in the industry, and they're really good at telling you what to do. But this was always a frustration for me. I didn't get the breakdown of how to do it. And I sure didn't get the explanation of why. And as I reflect back, most often it was never answered. And I think that's because we get into a kind of a cycle, a tradition that it's just always been done this way. And we fail to ask why. Is it truly in the best benefit for this horse? If it's not working, if your horse is unhappy and you're unhappy, there's your sign. Something is not working. Let's find the root of it. And Michael, for you to break it down so that we can see it, can't deny it, for the riders to feel it. And what an honor for Shelly and I to be the student yesterday. Now we have a dose. We got a good taste. I don't completely understand everything you said yesterday. It's going to take repetition. I am so happy for you, Emily and Stephanie, that you went home and you're like, it's working. I work these horses. They're great. It's already carrying over for you. It didn't work like that for me. It looks easy when you hear Michael standing there saying left, right, left, right, left, right. It's not natural for me yet. So I'm excited to keep going. That's what I take away from Michael and James. Step-by-step instructions and guidelines for these tools in your toolbox. Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, Emily. So Lori, are you at a place where you could talk? You had to change your seat as well, right?
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay,
You have your camera available?
I do. Okay, there it is.
There she is.
Hi,
Hey.
everyone.
Hello there. How are you, Lori?
There. Hi. Oh, yeah, it was amazing. I had that shift to the right in my hip too, and he just asked me to, like lift up, and I think I said it to kind of put my hip behind me just a tiny bit, not a lot, but it was enough to make a huge difference. I was thoroughly amazed. It was, and it just, I don't know. I told Kendra that, well, I also got to ride in a different saddle. So that made a huge difference because Kendra rode in my saddle and it was pulling her to the left, which is what I was feeling all the time. I was always leaning to the left to straighten my saddle back up. So then yesterday I got to sit in Kendra's saddle. I shifted my hip like Michael had instructed me to do. And then with a different saddle, I explained it to Kendra like it's just like melting butter. I just like fell into that, and I was struggling with keeping my knees open. But after I sat in Kendra's saddle for just several minutes, it was amazing how all of those changes just put me on my seat like I have never sat in a saddle before. Truly, honestly. Never felt like that. And my right foot always fell asleep, and I have bunions, so it always made my bunion hurt. And that went away. It's amazing.
I'm glad you like it. Thanks for that feedback. I love the bullseye saddle. It took a lot of years and trial and error and multiple saddle makers to actually listen to me and to listen to what I need. We all agree that we need a saddle that fits our horse. The problem, like Michael very clearly articulated yesterday, is that we get so focused on fitting the horse, we forget to fit ourselves.
Yep.
And Michael, you made a comment that what you see, most barrel racers, especially on a faster horse, are looking for a saddle that's going to serve or function like industrial grade Velcro and hold them in place. And you and I agree on this one. That is actually making it worse. I know you feel more comfortable and more confident in it, but it's not allowing you to be you. It's not allowing your natural range of motion for your hips or pelvis. So it's going to prevent you from having that connection, that synergy. Your synovial fluid, as you pointed out yesterday, I've never heard anybody talk about our synovial fluid before. I've heard it mentioned in horses, and I'm like, oh, that sounds important. I need to pay attention to that. But nobody ever addresses our synovial fluid and how we both have to be in sync. Leanna, neuroscience rock star.
So yeah, this is all amazing. And I think that what we were able to experience this weekend was really seeing how the rider and the horse mirror each other, and that all movement is communication.
So good.
All movement is a form of communication. And if we can go in it like with that kind of like open mindset, okay, that his movement is going to inform me and we're going to work together, I think then that whole concept where Jordan earlier was talking about, it needs to be perfect, will kind of unwind, because in knowing that setting up that responsivity through the softness in the hips that then leads to the feet, right? And then we're more in sync with the horse. It becomes a conversation, because every horse, just like us as people, we're going to be different on different days. I mean, I'm not looking for perfect alignment here. Like I slept wonky yesterday. Guess what? I got a hitch somewhere here in my back, and I'm not going to be like, I have to have perfect alignment. I'm going to attend to that. I'm going to understand that that's going to have some impact. And then I'm going to allow the rest of my body to come in and support, not compensate for, but to support, because compensation patterns lead to inefficiency. Supportive patterns allow for an openness, right? And to feel into where you get that, can receive that openness, whether it's through the breath of the lower diaphragm or the softening of the pelvis, right? It's those kinds of things that we're looking for.
Okay, you just hit us with a hard one. That was a strong bullseye. Compensation patterns lead to inefficiency. Support patterns. What do support patterns do again?
Oh, support patterns allow for connection. So, right, because inefficiency is a lack of connection. The connection is real fuzzy. Supportive patterns allow for clear communication and for connection and for responsivity, right? We're looking for responsivity. Whereas the other side is constriction, compensatory patterns are inefficient. Supportive, ways to be supportive, that adds to our ability to be responsive.
This is so good. I'm highlighting. Okay, another thing you said was it then becomes a conversation, and immediately in my head, I've filled in the blank instead of an argument. So how many of you watching live right now, or you're watching the replay, you feel like every ride is an argument? Every ride is theatrical. Every ride it's never a conversation, but it's a battle of the wills. If that is you, here's your sign. Reach out to us at Stall High. There's so much that is yet to learn in the horse industry, and that's not to feel intimidated by, but we welcome you to come be a part of it. It's really exciting. It's thrilling. It's humbling to realize we have an opportunity in what's happening as this movement develops at Stall High. We're stamping history. We are advocates for the horse. And now that we're getting to experience it ourselves, that makes it even more clear, and our voice and our message is becoming more clear, that it doesn't have to be done or accepted as status quo on behalf of the horse. So I'm going to share a video from yesterday, guys. This is so good. And for those of you who are watching, like, yeah, whatever. Whew, I got schooled. Okay. I've been in the saddle my whole life. I've been in the saddle before I could walk and before I could talk. So lifetime experience here. I've been fortunate to win at the highest level of competition. Have I qualified for the National Finals Rodeo? Not yet, but I have been as high as number 4 in the world. And I've been in the top 15 world standings on multiple occasions. So I do have an understanding and experience of what it takes to run at that level. And I do have pro credentials under my belt. So for me, guys, what I experienced yesterday was a missing link. I have recognized for multiple horses that I've trained over the years that they seem to be a shade early going into the third barrel. And we all know the beginning of the turn determines the end of the turn. The success of your turn happens at the beginning. So if I can now identify that, but I didn't know what was causing it inside me, clearly I have to take responsibility for that, and I have to find the root of it. What am I doing in my body that is signaling my horses, multiple horses, to just be a tick early? And why the third barrel at the left-hand turn? So we've labeled this one. So the name of this stall talk is, do you ride as level as you think you do? And how to fix a crooked seat before you compete. I'm actually thankful, Michael, that I'm not further along on the red roan and the gray mare. I have had the fortune of, my program. It doesn't matter if you ride them every day or once a year. It's so simple. It's so straightforward. They're going to retain the information. There's not a lot of fluff to it.
Right.
But it even gave me relief, and it took pressure off me seeing, oh, wow, I'm glad I didn't continue to instill a crooked seat and I didn't even know it. Like that kind of blew my mind. So we're going to start with Shelly's ride first. Shelly, are you still with us? Yeah, I see you there. I'm going to share my screen. All right, can everybody see this right here?
Yes.
Okay, so here we are, the 3 of us in the arena yesterday. So this is after the mare only clinic. And we had talked about hip rotation. I love the visual that Michael gave everybody. So I got the idea of putting duct tape, orange duct tape, okay, right where our belt would be, front and back. And I wanted to try to catch it on video. So Shelly, here you are on my Gildan Pedro. Tell us what was eye-opening for you. You go first.
Well, so I haven't been on a horse in a long time, and it's been, very, very, like once or twice during maybe 3 times with stall high. And I wasn't sure how it was going to be like listening to the coaches all year long, and then what I've went through with Pain Academy and stuff like that. And so I had so much confidence. And I realized that I haven't lost what I thought I had lost.
Mm.
So I was able to really concentrate on Michael and what he was telling me than on the stuff that I couldn't do before, that my body was hindering me, that I didn't know about, and so I just, so this was like my first ride. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yes,
So-
we do.
So Michael, kind of talk us through, at first, I see you right here. So you are explaining the horse's front legs and that shoulder movement.
Correct. Well, what we're kind of talking through here is what we want to do is we all want to acquire and work towards acquiring, better way to say it, an independent seat. And so often what we do is we get so caught up in the use of our aids that we overlook the base of support, that being in this case, our seat, because it's a connection. And we talked about the saddle, and the saddle, when it's on the horse, it's a bridge. It's really not a saddle anymore. It's a bridge for communication. So it's very important that that bridge is set up in such a way that we can allow that connection, that exchange of information along the highway of our spine, up and down, of being able to receive information, assess it, and then present it. And as we present it, we got to give ourselves time as well as the horse to be able for them to say, oh, okay, I got it. And that's when we see the horse use their head and neck, for example, differently. We want them to use it as an aid to balance and as an aid to impulsion.
Okay,
Now-
can I stop you real quick? You said something to Shelley and I was like, whoa, wait, what? So you talked about, and I heard you and I heard James, like y'all are both saying it, you're running parallel. The head and the neck, the horse needs their head and the neck to balance. They've got to have their head and their neck to balance. And when you demonstrated, when they drop their head, when they're allowed to drop their head and move naturally, you'll see that head bob. That's when they're balanced.
Yes.
So we don't realize the disservice we're doing our horses in, in the attempt to win a trophy or a jackpot or, get to the NFR. We have so many contraptions on them, or we're holding them back. We call it holding them collected. I call it holding them restricted.
Right.
They don't have full balance because they don't have full use of their head and neck, correct?
Correct. Yeah, correct. And what we're striving for with what you just said, Kendra, it's right, spot on, is we're wanting them to have the opportunity to develop self-carriage. And so often we get in there and think we got to do all this stuff to make this happen. And it's not a make thing. It's an allowing through this process, the opportunity for the horse to start to say, oh my, I feel something different. Oh, look what this, oh my goodness. It just is incredible to see how the horses then respond to this. I'm a big believer in the respond part of it and not the reactive part of it. We don't want a horse to escape to correctness because we think that's what we want them to be and do. We want them to be able to have this opportunity through this platform to be able to say, I really appreciate what you're working on with ourselves to be able to make this change and move in a more natural manner to develop that self-carriage, therefore being able to respond in such a magnificent way through what we're all talking about. And it's undeniable. I mean, I don't care who's saying it. It doesn't make any difference whether it's me or someone else. Look at what the horse is telling you.
There you go. Listen to your horse, not the people. Listen to your horse. That was such an important lesson for me to learn that started me on this journey of setting my pride aside and being coachable. So guys, if you'll look at this picture right here, the still shot, here's an image of the duct tape, right? You see how Shelley's is nice and level? When we get to Kendra in a minute, Shelley, I thought you sabotaged me on purpose. I'm like, you put my tape on crooked because this is not what it kind of floored me. I wasn't ready for this. But finishing up on Shelley, so immediately you noticed something in the way she was just making a simple turn, Michael.
Well, when she was turning, and well, let me back up. Shelley, you did an awesome job, girl. Keep up the good work. It was just a pleasure and an honor to be part of that with you. So with that being said, I'm so happy that you were able to sit on Pedro and we could all experience this with you. It was a beautiful thing. With that being said, go ahead.
I will not forget that day. I promise you.
Well, you did a great job, and you showed up, and that's the first step. You got to show up, and you did. And it was an honor to be part of that with you. So when we're talking about the turn, and I see this so often, and let me back up a little bit. These things that I'm sharing, I have had to break it down to this degree to ride myself. I didn't have the pleasure for people really watching me and giving me feedback as much as we would like. And so I just really tried to be open, one, to God and the ability that He has blessed me with, to have the fortitude to be able to stay on this journey. We're all on this journey, and it's a beautiful thing through Stall High that we can be part of it with you. And that, again, is so incredibly beautiful. And the thing that we experienced yesterday, it's these little nuances of change that build on each other to ultimately give us the opportunity to run for the NFR, to do whatever we so choose to do. And what's important with that is we all have these goals. Don't get so fixated on the goal that you've lost the ability to be part of this journey. Don't lose the mindset, and don't let anybody tell you it's the goal. It's the goal. Yeah, the goal is important, but if you can't break them down to making these little nuance of change, you're gonna miss this process, which is so beautiful in and of itself, because it's not only what we're experiencing with our horse, it's also experiencing what we take out of the pen and apply to relationships as a whole. So that, with that being said, now when we were talking about the turn that Kendra you had alluded to in the video, when you were going to make a turn, say to the right, what you were doing is you were opening up your hand, which was great, but you were twisting, unbeknownst to you, the opposite way. And so what the horse is saying is, wait a minute, I see your hand, I feel that slight feel through the rein, but you're saying go the other way in my mind, in the horse's mind. So when you were able just to open up your right side, your hip and your shoulder, and open up through your rib cage, it opened up your diaphragm. It allowed your pelvic girdle to move in a different way. And that allowed you to be able to help Pedro and work in this dance together, because we want one mind, one body. It's not two separate entities. When you sit on that horse, we need to think one mind, one body. And when you can start to put those little pieces together, like what you experienced yesterday, Shelley, it's off the chart. It's such a beautiful thing, because again, horses will never lie to us. They tell us when they get it, and they tell us when they don't understand. People, we will blow smoke all day long because we think that's what you want to hear or what you want to see. That's hard. Just throw that out, because what is really important is to be present in the now, right now, not tomorrow, not yesterday, not last year, right now. And when we can think like that, we're going to be more receptive to what these beautiful animals have to share with us than we might be otherwise. So when you were able just to put the piece together of opening up your body, looking where you wanted to go, it allowed that connectivity, that communication to be clearer. And that's when you started to see these little pieces come together and the success start to manifest. And that truly is is something that you swell up in your eyes. It's just that those emotions overwhelm you, and you're not alone with that, because I'm sitting here, my eyes are swelling up because it's such a beautiful thing to see this. And can I say it's beautiful.
I agree, Michael. And Shelley, I commend you because so many riders, I hear this all the time and I struggle with it too. We feel like we're supposed to already know something. And so we don't want to let anyone down. You're not a green rider, Shelley.
No.
You've been riding your whole life. I've been riding my whole life, but we were both so giddy for our chance to be the student yesterday. I think we can help, lead the way and make it okay for other people to say, you know what? I didn't even know this. Shelley, you didn't know. You've been successful with your horses too, but you didn't know you were doing that with your shoulders. I didn't know I was doing this weird thing with my hips. Is that right?
Oh, most definitely. And I'm just sitting here because, when the clinic started, one of the things Michael said is sometimes you need somebody to get you unstuck. And that feeling like overwhelmed. And I thought, okay. And I didn't really realize how stuck I was and how to try over and, and how much I really was taking being on the sideline. I've been on the sideline with Stall High for 1.5 years since we've started this. And I'm like you, Kendra, I am so glad I waited till the timing, God's impeccable timing. And Leanna and James, they got me unstuck that I didn't know where to even start again, And so that's what's amazing. And to see that picture, that's why I'm so emotional, because I think in the back of my mind, I really thought I was done. And even though my body was changing and I was doing this stuff and I'm listening to Stall High, and I think I really thought that I was done until I got on Pedro. And I could body and it's like, this is what, anyway, but I'll get to crying and I'm just surprised how emotional I am today. I'm trying not to be so.
That's all right. That's beautiful.
It is all right. So
Yes.
I'm going to share, I'm going to go next, right? So
Yes.
Shelley went first yesterday. I was second. You guys watch when I turn this screen back on, look at the tape across my hips. When I'm on the ground, it actually looks level. And that's what surprised me when I went back and pulled these clips from the video this morning. I'm like, hang on. I really thought Shelley sabotaged my tape. But when you go back and watch me walking on the ground, it looks level. You put me in the saddle and it's evident to see which hip was lower. So hold tight. Let me share this screen and then go back to the video, guys. Drop it in the comments. Are y'all getting new information from this? If you're watching right now, let us know what you think.
Right. Left, right, stronger. Left leg, right leg, stronger. Left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right. Let your hips go. Breathe, please. Breathe. I'll start telling bad jokes and we can't do that. We're online. Left, right, left, right, left, right. Get stronger. Left, right.
Okay, I think I pulled up the whole 1 hour and 20 minutes. So let's go right here. Okay, here's Kendra. Watch this when I walk for this horse, and you're going to see my hips they look level. Sorry, guys, I lost my spot here. There we go.
Does this tape make my butt look big?
Right. There it is. There it is. Okay. Yep. Can y'all see? Watch. Now I'm going to turn around and walk here in another second. It looks level right here. See that? Does that not look level?
It looks very
That's
level.
forward.
It does look level, but you're shorter on that one side. horses have a long side and a short side. And we kind of do that same thing.
Let's see if the camera picks it up right here. Look at that. Y'all see the angle? My right hip was lower and I had no idea.
You're right-handed, ain't you?
Yes.
There you go.
And Michael, you also talked about like what we're learning, also about the development of the horse through Savannah Allie Jackson and her course. Horses are born either right front foot forward or left front foot forward, and it can affect their development and how they carry themselves their whole lives. Well, then if we're on one horse all the time, our hips adjust to the horse and we don't even know, and it might be offset. So
Correct.
you actually worked my right hip yesterday. Shelley kept saying, this is a workout. This is a workout. And then when I got in the saddle and you started coaching me, it definitely worked my right hip, because you told me to put more weight on my left side.
Yep.
And to balance it out, because I really thought I needed more weight on my right side.
Yep.
And you told me that I had lateral movement, that I was riding the horse's rib cage. I've never been told that, but that I needed more front to back rotation in my hips.
Correct. And yes. And what we're looking for is we always want our horses to have forward impulsion. But if we don't have forward impulsion, we're hindering. There's a block. And it doesn't take much to disrupt that, being able to communicate with them, with one hip being just a little bit further forward than the other, or further back than the other, or further where you have more weight on one sit bone than the other. We need to be able to breathe through the change of our weight distribution through our pelvic girdle and our sit bones.
And what surprised me, I would think I was so focused trying to do what you were telling me to do. I wasn't watching my horse, but you guys were here, so you saw it. So you saw her immediately when I shifted, just a little squeak in the saddle. So she lowered her neck, she softened her eye, you said an ear moved, and she immediately looked toward the turn.
Correct. So she's being able to carry herself through the turn. Therefore, being able to stay on that turn or the circle in a much, much easier manner. And James is talking about the hind legs and the placement. All that is great information. But if we're not positioned ourselves through our nervous system and our mind, and allowing our spine to be the communication highway, the tuning fork, then the horse is going to compromise and compensate for our lack of position. And again, unbeknownst to us, when you go and make these little bitty changes, it's merely like a fly landing on any part of that horse's body, and they start to twitch that area with their skin, and the fly leaves. Well, it's similar to that. Horses can feel a fly than any part of their body. Why do we need to use any more than what a fly can do when it lands on the horse?
Because we're not communicating very well. So therefore we think we need to communicate louder with baseball bats and handcuffs. Like
Yes.
strong, heavy hands on the rein and tie downs and war bonnets and bigger bits. So it is very eye-opening. It's very eye-opening. And guys, if you're watching right now and you have wondered why your horse looks away from the turn, and you've been trying to either shape that horse and force, through horsemanship, force that horse to look at the barrel, or you've been trying to get past a barrel, or maybe you ride in a different event and you're just curious, like, why isn't my horse going the direction I really need? Why is this harder one way than the other? This could be your answer. dive deep, get in there and understand, come learn with us. I'm geeking out over all of this. I want to get back in the arena with Michael to coach me until I can really understand what he's saying. I can feel the difference. They're telling me my horse made an immediate change. She signaled with her body language. She looked in the turn. If I can accomplish that by just adjusting where my sit bones are in the saddle, how successful can I be going forward? How much quicker can I iron out the third barrel? How much easier will it be to regain top 50 and then top 15 status? It's pretty exciting.
Oh,
And then we got to watch you ride as well. Now you girls both had level hips compared to me. Where's Leanna in there? There she is. Leanna in Dover. So Leanna, what did you witness? Rapid fire session today.
Well, I think so much with this. There's this coming together of the community. That's why review my rides, like it is invaluable. Like, I don't think I mean, again, it's invaluable. You can't put a price on this, right? Because you're talking about years of experience in so many ways and the support of other riders in this community to come alongside to help us level up. And again, I'll say this: movement is communication. We're looking for responsivity, right? Through the adjustments and the fine nuanced adjustments to our body position, our posture, allowing, and this is to me what we're talking about is how can we allow the horse to really embody the fullness of their movements, their strides, their capacity to carry us, right? And that's what we're looking for. And often, I kept thinking of the phrase this weekend: we're not trying harder, we're trying softer. And in our trying softer, though, we're becoming into more attunement, right? Because it's that whole concept that you have about we're not doing horsemanship. So I think it's fantastic. Period.
Well said. Mic drop. I love it. Okay, Lori, one, as we end out, recap for us. What did I miss today? Everybody, my sister-in-law, Lori Roth in Nacogdoches, Texas.
Okay, I had to switch over to phone. I had a computer issue. Yeah, I don't think you missed anything. I definitely am looking forward to seeing, Shelly and I were taping with James, so I'm looking forward to seeing more of the videos from the refining pen. But just, I think you've already covered it, just the breakthrough and how, just like he said, just nuance changes that we saw right there in real time make a complete difference, 180 difference in the horse's movement, the horse's softness, the horse's attitude, willingness. We watched it happen. So it was incredible. It was kind of funny because I have to say, we were sitting there on Sunday, Shelly and I, and we were in between. We had just ended a Zoom, about to start another one. And James said, how do you guys stay so engaged? And I just looked at him and I said, are you kidding me? This is incredible. So
Yeah.
we might have had to sit over on the side and, to capture everything on video, but I didn't miss a beat. So I'm excited. I did have to come home Sunday, but I am excited to get on myself.
And I was proud of you. So you collected questions. So you were taking notes. You were like, I so want to ask James this right now. And what does this mean? And what does that mean? And I'm excited because it doesn't end with one clinic. And because you guys worked your butts off to record everything, and it now goes in the Stall High Library, and we can now make many clinics out of that. And our members have an opportunity to go back and watch that as often as they want. So many more people and so many more horses can benefit from it. And that's what we're doing here, guys. We're actually pioneering a movement. And I honestly believe it is in the betterment of the horses. We are wanting to be better stewards of our horses, not just better riders, but we are a community of riders who actually take responsibility and nerd out on the learning process. It is not intimidating. It's not scary. It's not expensive. It's actually really fun. And it's fun when you see the undeniable results and the softness in the horse. And it is much easier than you think. So if we have your attention, go download the Stall High app. And I'm going to drop this hint right now, right? Spoiler alert. You probably want to download that sooner rather than later because there are changes coming. So if you want help, if you want to be part of this online mentor program, go download the Stall High app while you can. Become a part of that online mentorship program. Click on that button. It's going to say mentor, online virtual coaching. Come be a part of what we're doing. We had a phenomenal weekend. Thanks to our wonderful sponsors. We had Merhow trailers. If you haven't pulled a Merhow, you really should. And they just feel different. They pull light, but they have a lot of control to them. Running Rose Performance Horses, Jamie Wilson. I thought she was a great fit, Lori, because of her mare program. She and Brandon work so hard and they're so diligent to have their own signature line of mares, and they're really up and coming and getting awesome results. So I'm excited for Jamie and Brandon, and we love having them on board as well. Jake Whitman, big shout out to Jake Whitman, Performance Farrier. So if you're having trouble with your horse, if your horse has funky feet and you don't know why, Jake offers consult for your horse through the Stall High app. So you can reach out for help with that. And then big shout out to ADM, which is Forage First Feed Company. So they're on board with this as well. We're really excited with all things happening at Stall High. Thank you guys. Thank you, Leanna and Michael. Thank you everybody for being here. Shelly, Lori, thank you for recording this past weekend so we can rewatch it again. And